There is an opportunity to do something creative with the mix of a video game when pausing the gameplay. While all the sounds attached to characters, animations, or visual effects need to be paused immediately to maintain audio-visual sync when the gameplay resumes, music and ambient sounds can be left playing in the background and manipulated to create a shift in the mix that reflects this change of state. The effect I wanted to create is like temporarily stepping out of a virtual world that now lives right in front of me in a sphere of images and sounds. To achieve this, there are three things that I like to do all the time. I'll add a high pass and a low pass filter to the whole mix bus. I'll boost the ambience bus of a couple of dBs to immerse the player in the environment. And when possible, or when it makes sense, I'll transition the music to a lower state of intensity. This is optional because the music might not have multiple layers of intensity, or maybe because we are in the heat of a boss battle and we want to keep the energy high. I'll demonstrate this using overriding snapshots, which are a form of temporary mixer presets that store any setting that has been offset. So let's switch to FMOD. Before we start, it's important that we have some form of basic game audio mixer set up. At the very minimum, for this game pause effect to work, we need 3 buses to separate the different audio groups and an equalizer on the master bus. I'm going to right-click on the routing tab in the mixer window and select New Group. I'm going to call this one Sound Effects, and inside I'm going to nest 2 more groups, one for ambiances and one for all the sound effects that the game engine will have to stop and control as a group when the gameplay is paused. We're not going to use this bus right now, but it's for you just to see the whole setup. I'm also going to add one more group for music. I have 2 events in this project, a music track, which I'm going to move into the music group, and an ambience track, which I'm going to move into the ambience group. Then I'm going to select the master bus, right-click on the pre-fader slot, and add an effect, which in this case is going to be the FMOD multiband equalizer. I'm going to select slot A and add a high-pass filter, and set the frequency value to 20 Hz, and then select on the slot E a low-pass filter, and set the frequency value all the way up to 22 kHz. I'm now ready to create a snapshot. I'm going to select the Snapshot tab, right-click, New Snapshot, New Overriding Snapshot, and I'm going to name it Game Pause. Now with the snapshot selected, I'm going to boost the ambience a few dB, lower the music a little bit, and adjust the frequencies on the multiband equalizer that we have on the master fader. I'm going to bring up a little bit the high-pass filter and bring down the low-pass filter. And I'm going to quickly switch to the editor window to play some music and an ambience so that we can test it. To activate it, we need to press play. And we can also fine-tune a little bit these parameters. Okay, I think I like the result. So right now the override is instant, but we can modulate the intensity of it with an envelope generator, so they will gently offset the parameter over an X amount of time. To do so, I'm going to right-click on the intensity knob and select Add Modulation and then ADSR. Now we can control the amount of time it will take for the parameters to move toward the target value and back to the original value when the snapshot is stopped. I like to use a long attack and a short release. And let's test it by starting and stopping the snapshot. The last step is to create a persistent event and a global parameter to control the activation of the snapshot from the game engine. This event needs to be played when the game starts, and by setting it to persistent, it will not stop until a stop command is sent to the event. I'm going to right-click here in the Event tab, create New Event. I'm going to select New 2D Timeline, but actually we don't need this timeline at all, so I'm going to remove it, and then I'm going to right-click to add a new parameter sheet, and I'm going to select New Parameter. As for the type, we want to select Label, For the name, I'm going to call it game pause. And we only need 2 values, so I'm going to delete the value C, and I'm going to rename value 0, paused, and value 1, running, for when the game is running. As for the initial value, I want to initialize this parameter to running. And for the parameter scope, I want to select global so that the value is shared between all the FMOD instances. Okay, let's rename this event. Let's call it game status. Now we said we need to set up this event to be persistent. And we need to add to the slot that's called here pause a new instrument called add snapshot instrument game pause, which is the snapshot that we created earlier. And the last thing left to do is to test it by playing some ambience, some music, play the snapshot, and modulate the parameter to see to listen to the final result. As for controlling the intensity of the music, this is something that I can simulate here in FMOD, but really the message should be sent by the game engine to FMOD, be received by some type of music playlist that controls all the music tracks, and only then change to a lower state of intensity. But again, I can simulate it here by changing this music switch parameter that I have on this music track. So you can imagine we are pausing the game and the music is switching to this lower intensity. And then maybe we are going back to resuming the game, and the music will come back to a higher state of intensity. And there you have it. That's how you set up game pause effect in FMOD using overriding snapshots. You now have a general understanding what snapshots can do, and I invite you to start using them in a creative way. Use the comment section below to share your favorite way to create a game pause effect and to ask any question that you might have. FMOD visual interface is the perfect environment to teach game audio to a wider audience, but keep in mind that these techniques can be used with any audio or game engine. Have fun. Bye.